With 1,000 days to go, I'm very proud to say that we're on schedule. In terms of stadiums, we've launched 2 stadiums, Khalifa Stadium and Al Janoub Stadium last year. Qatar Foundation Stadium, or Education City Stadium, is completed. We're just waiting for the right time to launch it. We will have 2 more stadiums coming online by the end of this year. Al Rayyan Stadium and Al Bayt Stadium, and by the end of 2021, early 2022, we'll have all 8 stadiums ready, with Lusail being the final one. In terms of overall infrastructure, so if we're looking, for example, at the metro system is operational. New lines are coming into play as we speak. It was successfully tested during the Club World Cup, where there was, the great thing about it was very, very successfully utilized by the population, not just for the tournament, but just generally. In terms of ICT infrastructure, we're practically, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, completed with the 5G coverage over most of the country. So simply put, in terms of tournament infrastructure, everything's coming into play, everything's coming according to schedule, and we've moved on to the operational side of things. So we're actually preparing our operational capabilities and improving our operational capabilities to host the World Cup in 2022. To ensure that the stadiums are sustainable from day one, we ensured during the design stage that first we incorporated feedback from the communities where these stadiums are located, so that each stadium has a specific component, making it a destination for the community and for the people surrounding the stadium, so that it's used on a daily basis. So for example, in Al Janoub and Al Bayt, we have parks developed around the stadium for the community to utilize. In addition, what we wanted to ensure is that there's no excess capacity within the stadiums that will be underutilized. So for example, most of the stadiums for the group stages, actually all the stadiums for the group stages will be 40,000 seater capacities. They'll be reduced according to the needs that we've designated. Most of them will be reduced to about 20,000, 25,000 seater capacities. The remaining seats, the modular seats, will be reconfigured and donated to football developing nations as part of our contribution to football development. They were very, very important. Of course, throughout our preparation, since we won the right to host the World Cup, up until the Gulf Cup and the Club World Cup, a lot of our plans, a lot of our preparations were developing the infrastructure, putting in place operational plans, but they were all theoretical. We moved on towards testing every plan that we put on the ground through a very gradual phasing of these plans, testing different elements, testing different functions. So they're very, very important milestones for us. We've got the 2020 Club World Cup coming up the end of this year. We have another tournament that we're looking to host in 2021. And again, each one is an important milestone to test the plans, to test us as individuals as well, our capabilities. And I'm very proud to say the conclusion of 2019 was a great success, both in terms of achieving our goals and objectives, seeing what works and what doesn't work and how can we fix it, and preparing for 2020 and according with the lessons learned. But at the same time, the tournament itself was a great success. It vindicated what we said, that these tournaments are a great opportunity, great festivity for people to get together. They're a great opportunity for people from different backgrounds and different cultures to discover what the Arabic culture, what the Middle Eastern culture truly is about, how hospitable we are, how football crazy we are. And I think it was for us an eye-opening moment, but at the same time was a celebratory moment as well. I think the main lessons learned during the Gulf Cup and the Club World Cup would have been first the resilience of the transportation system, but at the same time the need to put more pressure on the transportation system to see can it withstand bigger crowds. Match scheduling, I think, is very important during the tournament. Understanding how we would schedule matches between the different events or the different timings. In terms of security, I think the Club World Cup probably in 2020 was in 2019 was one of the first times where we had mass crowds from different walks of life, from different backgrounds, coming into the precincts and the stadiums and so on. And I think it was a very valuable lesson for our security team. We had incidents, for example, with the Taraji fans as well, where there was a bit of a few tense moments where I think our security team handled it very well, even though this is one of the very first moments that we've had these kinds of experiences in. And I think it's set the tone for us for 2020. The areas that we need to sit down and develop, the areas that we need to sit down and practice on communicating with the fans, I think is vital. Explaining to them locations, areas, gateways, and listening to them as well, getting the feedback. So it's a two-way communication channel. I think that's essential. The fan zones were a great success. Throughout the years, we've always said that we will have fan zones available in certain areas, alcohol will be available, and we delivered on it. The atmosphere was great, the fans had a great time, alcohol was available, affordable alcohol was available, and as I said, the atmosphere was absolutely fantastic, and it showcased what we've been promising, what we've been planning, that the model that we're talking about does work. Now the question is, how do we develop it? How do we create new, different locations? How do we improve on it? It's absolutely vital. It's absolutely important. I don't think we would have been able to be where we are today if it was not for the hospitality and the generosity of previous tournament hosts that have welcomed our teams and have allowed us the opportunity to learn from them and apply the lessons learned into Qatar. Russia, the Euros in France, all these different events that we've learned from, the Champions League, the continuous generosity of UEFA and the Champions League hosts to allow us to attend these events showed that there is a huge amount of benefit that we can extract from them. And accordingly, definitely the Copa America, Tokyo, the Euros, all these are vital milestones for us to, again, learn, to extract that information from people, to build a network where we can rely on people and build upon their experiences as well, and we look forward to them. Success for me personally is people having had a great time. Great vibe, great people from different backgrounds, different cultures just coming into, whether it's the Corniche, whether it's Msheirab, whether it's any of the different locations in Qatar, and just people from different walks of life just celebrating together. That's one factor. Great football, no doubts about great football, because I do believe that the compact nature of our tournament will ensure that players will be at their peak performance levels, and so you'll find great football on the pitch. And then beyond that, my success measure will be 2024, 2025, 2026, when we can identify individuals that have personally benefited out of these tournaments, whether it's companies or entrepreneurs that have been able to move on and grow as a result of their contribution and involvement in 2022, and accordingly jobs being created, whether it's people that benefit from our projects such as Generation Amazing that uses football for development, and you see them being leaders in their community as a result of these projects, whether it's finding leaders in the sporting industry as a result of some of our initiatives, such as, for example, Jisr Institute that uses football for development, that enhances the skills of people within the sporting industry, and ultimately, hopefully, in 2028, 2030, you start seeing a growing sporting industry in the region that contributes to job creation, that contributes to empowerment, that contributes to improving people's lives. With 1,000 days to go, I mean, now that you just mentioned the numbers, 4,000 days, it makes you realize, wow, that is a long time. It's only 4,000 days. There's no doubts about it. There's absolute excitement. There's a lot of excitement, but there's also, obviously, there's the good kind of anxiety. burning in the belly. And sometimes that fire is always great because it warms you up, it energizes you, pushes you forward, and it's excitement. It's absolute excitement. I mean, 10 years of our lives have been dedicated to this, day in, day out. With 1,000 days to go, we can only, or at least for me personally, I can only look at it with just excitement, trepidation, anxiety, but more importantly also conviction that this will be, without a doubt, the best tournament. The first World Cup in the Middle East, in the Arab world, will set a benchmark in the history of hosting major tournaments.